We will get back to text, chat, calls as well. We're joined by former Baylor quarterback and also the Baylor radio color analyst. JJ Joe was there. San Marcos. Baylor beats Texas State 29-20. And he joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. JJ, how much do you feel like they let Gary Bohannon loose? Did they, in your opinion, hold back a ton of what we might still see from him?
Yeah, Smoak, thanks for having me on. I do think they did. I mean, the game plan, if you look at it, was really, really pretty simple. You got very little misdirection. Gary ran maybe 3 times, really, what I would uncalled runs. He ran the boot quite a bit. I really like that play with Gary. He seems to throw very well on the run. But I don't think Coach showed he probably showed 60% of what he probably has in store for, kind of what comes along in the schedule a little later.
How much of this also is, not overloading Gary in his first start when he's only been the starting quarterback for a week?
Yeah, and that's part of it as well. I mean, Coach, that you want to learn, a little bit. I mean, you've had scrimmages, you've had a competition during the spring, so you don't want to give him too much. But I think also, you're going to have a lot of stuff in that Gary probably could run, knows how to run. But, during the game and you get into the game and you don't think you need it and you don't, like you say, want to put too much on his plate. So you let him ease into it because, the first 2 games, really, you probably should find a way to win. And then when Iowa State comes to town, you need Gary to be confident and, kind of the things you think are the staples. But then you want him to be prepared to take, be able to handle 80 to 90, 95% of the playbook.
So, JJ, the biggest topic all offseason in terms of where the most improvement was needed once you settled on a quarterback was the offensive line. They helped lead the 2 100-yard rushers with Abram Smith and Treston Ebner. They kept Gary Bohannon relatively clean, no sacks recorded. I know it's Texas State, but to me that's progress. What did you see from the O-line on Saturday?
I really liked what I saw. Now, they should play well against Texas State. I mean, Texas State, good solid team, but there's a difference between a Power 5 and a team from the Southland Conference. But I like the coordination. You could tell that Coach Mateos and Coach Grimes, they're together. They know exactly what they want to do. From the beginning, I could tell exactly what kind of offense they want to run. You see the wide gap, you see the blocking, you see the scheme fits with the play calls, you see the play calls fit. They make sense. You see what's coming next. I didn't have that feeling over the last 4 years. I mean, I just felt like, we would play along until Charlie needed. We asked Charlie to make a play. So with all that said, I like the way they looked, but I want to continue to see them get better because last year we ran the ball for, I think, like 300 yards against Kansas early in the season, and then we regressed. So I just want to keep seeing them grow, but I do like what I see.
JJ, Gary's got a gun. There's no question he can throw it. He can throw darts, bullets, whatever you want to, BBs. But and that does mean the defense knows he can. Is that valuable, or do you need to hit one of those every once in a while?
To be honest with you, Smoak, you don't have to hit it, but you need to hit it.
Yeah.
I know I sound like I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but I'm going to tell you, if they hit one of those, that game's a 21-point game. If he hits one and he breaks the back, we had a couple of opportunities to break that team's back and run away from them. But it didn't happen. And a couple throws, he overthrew Taekwon. A couple of times, they made a bad call on Josh. On Josh Fleeks. That was a terrible call, but we didn't have replay. But yeah, I mean, he can throw it. To outthrow Taekwon, that means you can float it, right? But I'll say this, and I said it in my write-up on, Sikkim 365 Smoak. It's different in the game. That guy's moving faster than he is in practice. I don't care what anybody says. Even when you're going competitive one-on-one, when you get in the game, that guy has adrenaline, and he's moving, and to gauge it, it just takes a little time. I anticipate we'll see it come together.
JJ, they made a lot of little mistakes, penalties. I mean, they add up, but, penalties and things like that. How much do you think that is this team has not played together too much?
Yeah, knew everything. I mean, there's a couple of them. I mean, that roughing the punter penalty, it was kind of the kid, Matt slid. You kind of see it. He kind of slid late and slid into the plant leg. But that should have been punt safe call. I mean, if you have a punt safe call on, team's punting from your side of the field, there's no reason to go block it unless you need to block to win the game. So it should have been punt safe. If it's punt safe, he's not even rushing. But anyway, that happened. That gave them life. And then a couple other times we got down there, we just didn't bang it home. So, you're going to have that in the first game. You're going to have that with basically a new offensive coaching staff. But defensively, we did a few things that, you kind of want to say, hey, come on now. You guys are too good for that. But, that'll get cleaned up. First game of the year, and you anticipate, the next couple games, it'll be much cleaner.
So with Texas Southern on Saturday, I mean, I think the expectation for everybody is that this is a game that Baylor should win relatively easily, the home opener. But for you to see the progress that isn't just the first week early season bugaboos, what would you need to see on Saturday to say, oh yeah, they've taken another step this week?
Well, after that, I think it's Kansas. But Texas Southern, you just want to see a clean game. If the subs aren't in by the second drive, third drive, and third quarter, you haven't done your job. And that's not a knock against Texas Southern. Texas Southern, they compete well, and most of the time, if they play their best and the Big 12 team plays its best, Southern will probably lose by 3 touchdowns, maybe 4. So they'll come in, they're going to compete. It's going to be hard early, but just like we saw last week, Texas State was ready to give up. They were ready to say, Baylor, you're supposed to beat us. We just didn't take it. So I'm anticipating on Saturday that Baylor should be a lot more crisp. The offense should score when it should score. And this game, we should see the backup quarterback. We should see Gary turn it over and get a look at, Zeno and Chapin. We should. So that's what I'm looking to see.
How much, and JJ, to finish it with this, if it's okay, is that how much do you like the fact that it was a hot day? Obviously, everyone's playing in the heat. And it looked as if you didn't see guys gassed. I know that the time of possession, whatever number of plays, but and again, they're playing against an inferior opponent, but it did look like a team that was in pretty good shape.
No, it really did. It was hot. As you guys know, Ricky always reminds me of how good I have it in the booth. But, yeah, it was hot, and it was good to see. Now, coaches did a great job of rotating guys, played a lot of guys, and that's important. But you didn't see it. You didn't see guys bending all over, even offensively, because we had the ball a lot. You saw the guys, they looked fit, they looked in shape, they looked real well conditioned. So, you want to see that because, for the next probably 3 or 4 weeks, it's going to be hot, especially wherever we play. Even in Kansas, it'll be hot. So it's good to see, and I'm looking for more, but that was a great start.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. JJ Joe, appreciate it anytime we get your knowledge. Baylor color analyst for Baylor Radio, former Baylor quarterback. Always great to have him on following the game to kind of give us a little perspective from the eyeballs of someone who played at that level. When we come back, David Hellman.